Death is everywhere among the roses in an initially charmingly pretty but increasingly disconcerting exhibition, the first at Guildhall Art Gallery devoted to still life art. The lovely flowers are there, but so are bloody hunks of raw meat, a bullet fashioned from human bone, and a cobwebby skull made from dust. It's death. It's always been all about death, the curator Michael Petrie said cheerfully. In the 17th century you looked at a vase of luscious blooms and everyone immediately got the message: this is the peak of perfection and beauty. It's all downhill from here. That's the element that is really hooking in contemporary artists. Change and decay is a very practical issue, with the skull made from a duster and glued household dust by the artist Paul Hazelton, titled Frightwig but startlingly resembling the late Andy Warhol. It is a conservation nightmare, the Guildhall curator, Catherine Pierce, said, watching nervously for any dust being shed as the skull swayed slightly in its glass case. Paul Hazelton's Frightwig, made from a duster and glued household dust. Photograph Caplier Paul Hazelton Wayor, and of course most of household dust is actually made up of human skin, Petrie added. So the circle is complete. Darren Jonas, A Time and a Place is also cause for anxiety, a collection of objects precariously balanced on a small glass shelf, representing a rollicking weekend in the gay bars and clubs of Fire Island off New York, including ferry tickets, mouthwash, tissues, lubricant in a bullet-shaped container, whiskey, paracetamol and a tape measure. The exhibition, which opens next month, brings together scores of contemporary works including pieces by Michael Craig Martin, Mark Quinn, and Matt Collishaw. They have been chosen by the artist, author and curator Petrie and co-curator, artist and dancer Robert Ekholm, rimming old master still lifes from the collection of the City of London, many coming out of decades in storage or previously admired only by guests at Grand City dinners. Death is explicit in many of the contemporary pieces. Collishaw's work resembles a classic 17th-century Dutch still life, food piled up against a dark background, but it actually represents the last meal chosen by a real prisoner, Juan Soria, including chicken, fish and fresh fruit, before he was executed for murder in Texas. The state has since abandoned the tradition of offering prisoners their choice. Petrie, who has just published a Thames Hudson book on still lifes, wants visitors to look more carefully at what artists are really saying when they choose it. The title of the exhibition is The French Nature Morte, literally dead nature. The simple outline of a leaf in one contemporary piece needs as careful a decoding as the lost language of flowers and religious symbolism in many of the historic paintings. The American artist Eric Rhine decided to make an image of a leaf for each of the people he knew who had died of AIDS, and the maple leaf is for the photographer Robert Mapplethorpe. Jim Skoll's untitled 2009 Death is explicit in many of the contemporary pieces in the exhibition. Photograph C. Lebedinsky. We are more aware of death than ever now, Petrie said. A generation of young artists has grown up in the last 2 decades in the shadow of endless killing, non-stop war in Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, and now we have 2 madmen with their fingers on the nuclear button. Visitors to the exhibition may pass by 3 richly colored glass vases on marble plinths at the entrance without realizing that they are the first exhibit. Petrie's own work. The colors of the vases and flowers relate to the gay code of colored handkerchiefs to indicate sexual preference. The shapes in which the vases were molded have an even more intimate meaning. It will all be explained in the label, Pierce said. This isn't an exhibition where we're shying away from anything edgy. Nature Morte, Guildhall Art Gallery, the 7th of September 2017 to the 30th of April 2018.